Good evening, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing great after this happy Easter we had yesterday. I took a couple days off, I think, from videos just to kind of get organized. I did go through lots of the topics. We have lots of ones coming up that are going to be wonderful. Also, great shout-outs we'll do in a few minutes here as well. A lot of great ideas and things that we got to talk about. But I want to kind of focus today on a topic from Harold, who had said the universe is your router during SR. I like that. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit here. So a couple of quick points here before you do it. And these were today, and I haven't had a chance to actually kind of put those within the list, but I'll get to them a little bit later. One was from our viewer friend, Brazil. And, you know, Brazil's talking about the screaming. And I know I've had a few other people talk about before. And I understand if you're using videos for meditation, to sleep, things like that. And I'm thinking about doing some other types of videos that don't have the screaming. But guys, we have to remember, Warriors, we're in a battle. We're in a battle. And you got to think about this in terms of a battle. And I realize that, you know, I shouldn't be screaming. But the bottom line is the energy you have, the strength you have, my friends, you got to realize this is a battle against Satan. This is a battle to make sure you're keeping your energy. And maybe I'm going too strong, but it's got to be emphasized that this is a battle. So I say battle on at the beginning, or what I always say is greetings, Warriors, good evening, and then battle on at the end, because I want to make sure that we understand that this is a battle. You know, those of you who've responded back talking about how much this is a battle every day, going back and forth. I took 47 years of a battle, back and forth. Finally getting some point where I'm at 1,000 and almost 50 days of not releasing. And still, the battle is still on. Temptation is always around the corner. More and more now with women, you know, flirting and all kinds of stuff all day long. It is a continual battle. And you got to have the right frame of mind. And I understand you guys want to use some of this for meditation and use some of this stuff to get to sleep. But I'm going to tell you, my friends, the battle has to be strong, and there has to be some strength and inspiration here. And so that's why I kind of do what I do. And so I understand some of you guys don't always like this, and I will try to think about doing some stuff that doesn't have as much of that, and maybe I'll put that differently and set it differently. So I understand what you're saying, Brazil, and we'll take a look at it. But the bottom line to me is the reason I do this is because I want the strength to understand that we've got to take this seriously. No fooling around. Our masculinity, the males are at stake. Look at what's happening in the world. Look at all the deviant behaviors you're seeing. People acting not like their own gender, all kinds of stuff going on. And you see this all the time. So you got to make sure that you continue to keep that male frame you have and doing the kind of stuff you need to do. The other comment was by a viewer today that talked about medical. And I want to address this now before I forget later on in the line, because I'm kind of a month behind all you guys' great comments and things like that. He was talking about having a cold. Now, I haven't had a cold for about 15 years now. Because I used to, and even only the last 1,000 days with Semen Retention, the journey without it. But before that, I didn't get sick very often. I think I got sick once in 20 years, back in 2006 maybe. 2006, 2007, maybe something like that. One time, I remember staying home from work. But the bottom line is the reason for this, I believe, was the Fountain of Youth stuff from Kelder. That stuff is tremendous, and it keeps you youthful, it keeps the chakras going, but it also allows you to fight kind of disease and become stronger. So the more you're doing with retention, in my estimation, the healthier you're going to be. Just makes sense. You're keeping those nutrients, you're keeping your seed together, and those things are going to keep you strong. And so your chances of getting illness, colds, flu, things like that are bound to get down. I think that's your best. They talk about these things we're supposed to take, you know, in order to kind of fight these viruses and everything. I think you've got the best known type of thing in your own system, and that's your own semen. That's your own protection. Now, is it the cure-all everything? Probably not, but it goes a long way in keeping you healthy. So the answer to your question, yes, is yes. I believe it can help you a great deal. The longer you're on a retention, I think the healthier you're going to be. And as long as you follow other types of things, like I take cold showers, watch my sugar and carb intake, exercise, all these type of things, you're going to get better and better. But I'll do a special video on this one as we go along later on. Okay, a couple quick shout outs, and then we'll kind of stop it here. Let me just do 3 or 4 of them here. Let's go back to I got a lot of these. Okay, Jon the Dawn, very good, my friend. Thank you always for your comments. Michael Jackson, Levi wants me to do one on Michael Jackson again. I will try to do another one. I had one of my touch base with some of the musicians. I'll talk more about him a little bit later. Knowledge, Berakah, law of attraction, excellent. Law of attraction is very much in play all the time. Chimbu, in the case, in and out of monk mode, we'll talk about that, how that happens. Monk mode is really your thought pattern. And it's not really releasing, but it's actually getting to the point where now you're in that territory where you could release, and you got to try to avoid that if possible. But we're all on a journey. We all take small steps to get there. And, monk mode is the highest level you can go at this point, my one. All right, Harold, and thank you, Harold. So Harold talked about the universe is your router. So let's talk about that one a little. He says, and I totally agree here, he says that the universe is your router during SR. And you guys know routers, you know systems. He says the longer you're on, the stronger connection with the universe without buffering. So buffering obviously means you're going to have problems with the connections and things like that. The longer you are in SR, the stronger connection you are in the universe. This is a great analogy he's making, because when we think about energy, we know that energy cannot be destroyed, cannot be created. It's there. You have the energy. God has given you that energy when he created you. You are just now trying to manifest that energy into something that's productive for his purposes. And the universe sees that. You can talk about the universe as being God. I always do that. And if he talks about universe, I talk about God. You can talk about anything you want to talk about when you name this. But this God knows that your connection is stronger, because he knows you're keeping the temple that he gave you within yourself. And therefore, you're not wasting it away on things that are meaningless. Bottom line, my friends, unless you're procreating and you're going to have children to progress the population, to progress the generations, what are you really having sex for? What are you really releasing for? Now, you could still have sex without releasing. Obviously, you're getting into that edge every type of thing, and we know the pros and cons with all of that. But the bottom line really is that what are you doing that for? This is the question that you have to ask yourself. I know in this society, we're taught we got to do this, you're healthy and all that kind of stuff when you do this. Well, I have found over the last 1,055 days, and I was concerned about this before I started all this, that I feel healthier now than I did when I was 25 years old. And so a lot of that stuff we are learning in our world is a bunch of myth, bunch of things put out there, whether it's the medical world, anything, sports world, political world, whatever you're talking, economic world. A lot of this stuff is BS. And it's hard to trust anything you see out there now. Getting second opinions, third opinions. I talked to my students about this the other day. Don't fall for one person's opinions. Don't fall for my opinion. Go check it out. Find other things. I'm giving you just my experiences. I'm not going to give you any solid research on a lot of this, because there's not a lot of solid research on this. However, it's been traditions passed down for years and years and years. A lot of the Semen Retention, the brahmacharya, the sophism, the celibacy. There's a reason people have been doing this for years. It builds strength. It builds a connection with your God, your creator. And that's what you need to do. The question becomes, will you follow your creator? Will you flow with that connection? Like a river, will you flow? Or will you block it up all the time? Will you kind of move in the other direction? And therefore, you're not going to get the benefits, and you'll become weaker. And this is when, if you're not doing the exercise especially, your chakras start slowing down, And I believe that's where age starts getting into time. Eventually, we all pass away. There's no doubt about that. But the longer you keep those chakras going, and the longer you can do exercises, there's no telling how long you can live. Some people live to 130 years old. That's documented fact out there. 127, 130, I can't remember the oldest person, but we're in that category somewhere. Now, how do you do that? That person, I saw that person before they had passed away in a video, 120 some years old, flexible as you know what, being able to do these Kelder exercises, all kinds of stuff. Now, a lot of that goes back to your deeper feeling. Do you want to live that long? I fully believe lots of people, they die up here first before they die down here. Why is that? Well, think about it. If you're living that long, you get into your 80s and 90s and 100s. How many people are still around that you grew up with? Not many. This plays a mental factor on many people. They don't want to continue living because their whole identity was based on all the people they had. All the generational people, the celebrities, the movie stars, the sports stars, all those people. They've all passed away, most of them. Very rare stay up until 100 years old. Therefore, I've seen people say, why do I want to keep living? Everybody that I knew has passed away. But that, to me, is a defeatist attitude. The warrior must carry on, but the warrior does not need people. Therefore, this argument's irrelevant for a warrior. It's more of a case of that warrior is going to keep going and going and going, meeting new people, developing new friendships, new things, but they're not bound by the friendships. They're bound by that connection to the Lord. That router is strong. You're not going to have a lot of buffering going on there. You're basically going to be a strong connection, and you're going to clear, it's going to be very clear. And the idea is that universe, your God, you're basically filtering through that God with a purpose. And that God's given you that energy. And now you can actually connect and be strong in your connection. And just like we need a router, we don't need to be buffered all the time. We need a router, right? We need to be able to be strong. And so as Harold's saying, right, the stronger connection with the universe without buffering is an important type of thing. And he's right on target with that. So semen retention is key, my friends, in self-control and be able to connect more with God. And this is why we talked about the fact that I feel, and seeing the people that I've talked to and listened to, that 10, 12 years, if you continue on this pace, you're getting closer to God. You're moving away from the flesh, and you're getting more to the spiritual. And you can do this at any age you want, but it's a much easier, obviously, as you get older, because men especially are able to learn how to transmute, not even by purpose, but just by the general idea that you're not interested as much in sex as you were in your 20s, because you're transmuting energy into other types of things. And so as time goes on, you become somebody who really can transmute that energy, and now you're achieving goals beyond belief. And this is why Napoleon Hill said in his book that most men, if they control the sexual energy, really find tremendous success between the ages of 40s and 60s. Now, a little bit past 60, like myself, I'm seeing the success a lot more than I did back when I was 30 years old. And that's because you're now focusing that great energy you have, that power you have, into something else. And that makes a huge difference when it comes down to it. All right, so anyway, Harold, thank you so much, my friend, for that, and thanks for the other shout-outs, my friends, as well. And thank you for my friend Brazil. Keep on meditating, my friend. It's a great thing to do. Meditate, relax, and if you want to continue to listen to my messages, I appreciate that. And I will use your advice. I will try to think of some things I can do that gets away from the battling on. But I also want to make sure I emphasize how important this, guys. It is important that we are in a battle every day. I talk about this in other areas as well. Battle for our morals, battle for our values. We had a lot of years of people going, you know what, and now you're seeing they're all going broke. because they're going, you know what. And the idea is that what you want to do, my friends, is continue on the philosophy of getting back to the values that God and your universe wanted. And those are values that are going to make society grow, not separate societies. The warrior needs to protect, and the warrior needs to provide an environment that women and children can benefit and can flourish and feel like they're protected. All right, my friends, enough for this evening. Again, you guys have a great evening. We'll do one soon again. I think our next couple we're going to do tomorrow, we'll talk about why do women randomly touch you or bump into you. Happens to me all the time, all the day. Why? It's by peaceful beings. So we'll talk about that one tomorrow. And Uran's Suave also talked about this one too. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. Why are women next to you bumping into you all the time? It happened to me several times again today. And why does that happen? Well, there's a big reason for that to happen, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Until tomorrow, two things. Every day is a great day, a new day to a great warrior. Sorry about that. And secondly, my friends, don't you forget to bet on!